the steps that are involved in the job search strategy that I use. Let's see. We in here. We in here. We in here. Okay. All right. So this job search strategy, if you are looking for a job in 2023, if you know somebody looking for a job in 2023, and I'm gonna try to keep this in between the 30 minutes job, because if this is good, I'll do it again, maybe for like on a different platform or whatever. But this is the job search strategy that I use that helped me find a job like in 1 week instead of having to put in hundreds and hundreds of applications. Okay, so let's just go ahead and dive right in. Job search strategy for this year. Okay. So we're going to talk about, okay, who I am. I'll tell you who I am. We're going to talk about the strategy, and then we're going to answer any questions. Hi, thank y'all for dropping the ones in the comment. Okay, great. So for those who don't know me, I'm Alexia Green. I go by Lexi. I'm a recruiter. I've been in HR over 15 years. I've gathered so much knowledge over the years that my mission, my purpose, I believe, is to help young women elevate their careers, elevate their lives, because as you know, this is how we feed our families. So, you know, people who want to be moms, people who just want to elevate their career, you know, it's how we feed our family, our children, our nieces, our nephews, our mamas, our daddies. This is your career matters. Okay. So we're just going to go over it. That's what my mission is in life. And I hope that I'm able to help you guys. So first step that I wanted to talk about in the job search strategy. The first thing you need to do is you need to get an idea of what type of job you're looking for, which is Googling those type of jobs, Googling similar jobs. That's the first thing I did. Okay. So when I had in my mind, okay, I want to do HR, I want to do recruiting, I want to do maybe HRS, maybe benefits. You need to start Googling all the various job titles that exist underneath your niche. Okay. I put some examples up there for a branding marketer, or a brand marketing person, or a human resources person, a person in accounting. These are all job descriptions. These are different kind of job titles that exist under each niche that you could be studying. Okay, you could be studying these things so that you can have a better idea of the type of jobs you need to be applying for. You know, some people, you just might not be as familiar with all the different job titles that are out there, especially nowadays. They done shifted things up. You know, everything is changing. So you want to Google jobs that are within your niche. Okay, don't just Google them and go away. Save them, not bookmark them. Like copy the whole job description and put it on a whole different document for you to keep for your research. When I started my job search, that's all I did. I took one day and just did that. I copied and pasted, I don't know, I copied and pasted HRBP jobs, recruiter jobs, benefits jobs. I copy and pasted so many because I knew I was about to start researching them. Okay. I hope that makes sense to everybody. And if you have questions, drop the questions in the comment box. Okay. So once I looked up those jobs, once I Googled those jobs, I started taking notes. I had them all in my Google document. I started taking notes. I went through each one, you know, and just started kind of seeing what those key terms were. So job description notes. Okay. You want to be looking at the key skills. You want to be looking at the software that they're talking about on those job descriptions. You want to be looking at the job responsibilities and duties. I listed some examples. So in finance, you might see things in a job description that relates to bookkeeping, budgeting, forecasting. These may be terms that they use. Same with branding managers. If you want to be a brand manager, they might talk about product launches. They might say things about promotional this, promotional that, sponsorships, video content. Again, get to know your industry. Get to know what those keywords are like. Okay, get to know what they're talking about in those job descriptions. Take notes on this. That note taking process looked like this for me. Once I found those jobs, I had one screen that had the jobs, and I had another screen that was just my notes. Like I said, key skills, key software. And now, as I'm looking at them, I'm copying and pasting or typing it up in my own words that make sense to me so that I just pinpoint specific things that are going to be relevant in the next steps coming, which is going to be on your resume. Okay. So everybody following me. If you're following me, put a 2 in the comments. You following me, put a 2 in the comments. Okay. All right. Next, you've Googled similar jobs. Okay. You've taken notes on those jobs, meaning you've done a deep dive into the job description, into the job duties, the software and you have compiled now a little section, because right now, good, you getting it. Okay, good. Thank you. Right now, you went from having maybe, let's say, a 20-page document full of job descriptions to having, you should have a 1-page document on the side now. So you went from having a 20-page document that has all these different job duties and job descriptions in here. Now that you've dissected it line by line and just kind of use the process of elimination, because some of those jobs are going to repeat, or some of the job duties are going to repeat in those jobs. So you eliminate, okay? I've heard of using word cloud to highlight similarities too. You can do that. Yep. So now that you've kind of dove into that, now you want to talk about the salary. Okay. We all know that jobs do what they want to do when it comes down to the salary. Like sometimes they put the salary on there, sometimes they don't. I've heard reasons why they do, reasons why they don't. It's a catch-22, because I can tell you now, employers typically don't put the salary on there because they want to cast a wider net. But as a candidate, you want to know the salary up front, because we need to get paid. I mean, it is what it is. Nobody is trying to work for free. That's called volunteering. Okay, we try to work. So some put it, some don't. In the case that they, even if they do, in the case that they don't, there are various websites you can go to that I love. I know you've probably heard about Glassdoor and salary.com, and you're able to research competitors there too. But it's two other websites that I know. Somebody said whackness. I want transparency. I want transparency too. But guess what? Put me at the top and we'll give it to you. Not saying. Yes, we want transparency, but like I said, some jobs do, some jobs don't. But I will say a lot of companies and those platforms are leaning towards requiring it, okay? Requiring salary information. All right. Like I was saying, when it comes down to salary research, you know the typical websites, okay? But I wanted you guys to be aware of two other websites that have been my best friend throughout pretty much the last 10 years of me trying to, build my career. And I would say the first time I heard about ONET Online, I don't know, it was some years ago, but the job occupational handbook and ONET Online. If you need to screenshot those two things or write it down, job occupational handbook and ONET Online. Those two are going to give you so much information on salary research, on type of jobs that are out there underneath in each industry. And it's also going to give you the outlook for those type of jobs. Is it a growing profession? Is it a declining profession? Does it have a bright outlook? Is it is it lucrative as far as money goes? Does it have a lot of growth? ONET Online has so much information. I love it. These are sites where you're going to do your research when it comes down to the salary range, skills that are necessary for these jobs, all of that. I just put two examples up there of something from salary.com, I believe, showing, that there is, you have access to information that'll give you that salary information you need. And you'll be able to use that when you're getting a job offer, salary negotiation. There's been plenty of people, especially in my previous recruitment jobs, where they've brought actual data. They've sent me a long email and said, according to this, according to that, and according to this is the range for this industry and for this market. And I'm like, kudos for all this information, but you can't help but pretty much appreciate that they've done their job, and if everything aligns, then they can get within what their range is. Okay. My suggestion when giving salary to an employer, or if somebody decides to ask you that on the interview, don't ever give us one solid number. Don't ever say, 70,000, 60,000, $35 an hour. Don't ever say a firm number. Always use a range. Me personally, my range is always between 10 and 20,000. I think my sister disagrees with that range, but I don't know. I just know that when you give a wide range, you're giving yourself something to work with, you're giving them something to work with. And so far, nobody has ever told me, you'll narrow down that range. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So hopefully that helps. So I hope you guys are writing some of these steps down, or just listening, and taking note things that you're not familiar with. Okay. This might seem basic, Betty, to some people, but Another thing that's a real big factor in your um, job search strategy is to make sure your voicemail is up to date, and make sure you have a greeting and it just doesn't say you've reached the 314 or you've reached and just quotes the number. Make it a pleasant greeting. Every little thing counts in this job process. Every little thing counts, especially considering the fact that everybody is on social media, everybody's following, everybody's remembering things. Okay. And the last thing I want to say, make sure your voicemail is not full. Like, don't do that. Delete it out. I'm guilty of not checking voice messages and stuff, but if I'm on a job hunt, you better believe I'm making sure my voicemail greeting is right. I'm making sure I clean out my voice messages so I don't have so it doesn't they don't reach me and it says it's full, because it's just that much of an extra step for us as recruiters to call and then we can't leave a message and then email or then text. Like, we trying to get a hold of you, so do us with just a solid and make sure we have space to leave a voice message. Make sure we hear that your voicemail is real nice and proper and prim and serene and just crispy and all that good stuff. That's helpful. Okay, what's next? All right, now we're getting down to the real nitty gritty for the job search strategy, because everything that you've done thus far is pretty much for your resume, minus the salary and minus the voicemail stuff. But your resume, everyone pretty much has heard where, okay, you you have 7 seconds to make a good impression with your resume, or you have just a small amount of time so that people can, the recruiters can review your resume. That may be true, but the thing is, when you have a stellar resume that's formatted like to a crisp, clean, unique, different, it can stand out. So it can change the time span that someone spends on your resume. It can change it from 7 seconds to 30 seconds to a minute. There's been plenty of occasions where I've tried to hurry up and glance at a resume, but there's also been times where it's so uniquely designed that I'm like, hold on. And I'm looking at it a little bit more detail. Okay. So let's kind of go over what I wrote here, because this is really crucial to the job search process, because this is just the first thing that you're putting forward when you apply for your job after you've now done your research. So what you're going to do is those keywords, key phrases, key skills, key software, all that you gather from the job description, you want to intertwine that into your previous experience. You want to intertwine that into like a skills bucket. And you also, this is a really good one. A professional resume writer taught me, put some of those sample job titles that we researched earlier onto your resume so it doesn't like fit you in one box. For instance, I'm a human resources expert. So on my resume, I put human resources expert on there. I put recruiter. I put benefits specialist. I put HR manager. I put HR professional. I put a variety of different job titles, letting them know, hey, these are the type of jobs that I'm looking for. These are the type of roles that interest me, you know? So this step is really crucial. I wrote on here, be prepared for a 2 to 3 hour work session, because this isn't something you want to rush through. Like, you don't want to sit down and just try to hurry up and do this. This is something that took me probably 2 or 3 2-hour sessions to make sure I did it professionally, make sure I didn't have any typos, make sure it was crispy, make sure it was clean, make sure everything made sense and I didn't have any duplicate skills or job duties or phrases. I wanted it to make perfect sense. And I also wanted those skills that I researched, those different job duties, I wanted to make sure that was intertwined into my resume so that anything that falls under this umbrella, you can see it on my resume. Okay, here's an example. I have an HRIS background as well. So I'm going to be putting on my resume, okay, HRIS expert, data like data validation, mass data loads. Like, there are certain phrases that I know because of the previous research that I've done are very common in this industry. Reporting, auditing, things like that. You want to put those things within your job description. And if they don't fall, thank you, Vicky. If they don't fall in between what you did at a previous job, then that's when that skills bucket is going to come into play. Okay. Recently, I updated my resume because, like I said, I did that research. I updated my resume and I specifically put HR skills. I put HRIS skills. I put recruitment skills because I wanted them to see there are 3 different buckets here of different skills that I have. And I didn't just put one list of skills that's all over the place. And I don't show them put team worker, good communication. It's time out for that type of stuff, y'all. Okay. It's time out for that type of stuff. Okay. Okay. We could go all day about this section, but this section is going to be crucial. I'm happy to do another one of these sessions. Like, let me know if y'all want me to do this again. All right. All right, let's move on to the next one. In the job search strategy. Now that we got our cover letter, now that we got our resume together, it's time for the cover letter, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for the dreaded cover letter that we hate. We candidates hate. We recruiters, we don't care about them neither. But the hiring managers, majority of them love them. Okay. Certain industries, fine. But some jobs, they require them still. Some jobs, they don't. But I promise you, if it's a job that you really, really want, you better put a cover letter in there because your resume and your cover letter is going to be your only shot to get pulled for them to give you that interview. And I want to put everything into it so that I can get pulled, okay? There's been 2 occasions now that during my interview, they mentioned my cover letter and talked about, how good it was and how they enjoyed this piece and that piece. Yeah, I put my all into that cover letter, and I've been using that cover letter for quite some time now because it's good. But anyway, these are the things that belong in your cover letter. You want to showcase your personality, okay? Don't repeat anything that's on your resume. Don't need to do that at all. Sometimes it's okay to tell a quick story. I had one cover letter that I wrote where I started off with 7 years ago or something along the lines. 7 years ago, I dropped out of school. Like the same way we try to catch people's attention, like catch. Hey, it's time to think outside the box on the job search. Okay, tell a quick story. Just like I said, the candidate doesn't like to write it. The recruiter might not read it, but your hiring manager, when it gets down to you, the only 3 people they interviewing, are you a part of the 5 people that they're interviewing? They're going to be diving deep into your resume and into your cover letter. And I would hate to be the one sitting there with only a resume, and then I got to compete against folks who already got to tell a part of their story in their cover letter. I'm putting my all into it. Okay. Okay. Anybody got any questions so far? Let me know. Okay. Now, another piece of the job search strategy. Again, the person you're talking to right now, me, myself, Alexia Green, aka Lexi, everything that I'm talking about, I did so that I can get a job in a week. Everything that I did, it took a little bit of time. I would say maybe my sister can agree. It might have took maybe a 2-month thing. Maybe it was a 2-month process, all this preparation I was doing. I didn't probably do it that fast, but you can easily do all of this in maybe like, I would say 2 weeks. You probably can do this in 2 weeks because we all got jobs. We all do things. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying it. So the next part of your job search strategy, update your LinkedIn. We've been talking about cleaning up your social media for years now. Well, it's not just about cleaning up your social media anymore. It's about making your LinkedIn presentable as well. This is a sample of my sister's LinkedIn because what she did is she showcased herself. 1, there's a picture on here. 2, she has some kind of a banner with some kind of information. So somebody's going to look at it. They're going to be like, hey, what we got going on here? Let me look and see what she's about. Then she has other details in there that I actually highlighted. She says she's a technical writer by day and a resume writer by night. So if I'm a recruiter that's looking for a technical writer, now I can see that not only do you write for your day job, you also write resumes for your passion, so you kind of you might be a writer. You put a lot of thought into this, so your LinkedIn profile is just another way to express yourself, and it's always going to get looked at nowadays. So nowadays it's more than just cleaning up your Facebook, making sure it's not a bunch of stuff on Instagram or whatever it may be. And it's not just about putting a picture on LinkedIn and leaving it there. You need to optimize it. Make sure your profile, your About Me section is creative. And then it's not just no whack one paragraph thing. Mine's probably is, but I didn't get to changing it. But make sure they no whack one paragraph situation. Like it needs to be, you need to get creative, you know. Make sure you update your profile to say you're open to work, you know. Let's see. Question. You said to avoid, girl, I don't know how to say that word, trite phrases like team player, good communication, good communicator, etc. Would you mind sharing examples of stronger key phrases? Girl, I sure won't mind sharing examples of stronger key phrases. Okay. Let me show you right here. So, as I was saying earlier, key phrases that are stronger than team player, good communicator, things like that. Okay. So, y'all not going to be able to see this, but I mean, y'all not going to be able to see it for real, but this is not my current resume. This was just me playing around with some stuff, but I ain't gonna do that. Y'all can't see that. Anyway, my phrases that I chose for my resume, Callie, were not soft skills. They were not skills like team player, good communicator, um, leader, you know, stuff like that. I talked about myself more so in my cover letter, but for me, my skills were outlined like actual skills. Like I have a software section and I have a HR skills section. So some of the things I wrote was website management, compensation, comp analysis. I wrote full cycle recruitment, employee relations, offer negotiations, database maintenance. I wrote that kind of stuff on there, you know. So, but side note, I'm not a resume writer. There's a resume writer right here on the screen. She is the one who can help you the most with that because she's the one who helped me with mine. So hopefully that helps a little bit. But I wrote stuff like that, and then when I got to the software side, I wrote Workday, I wrote Banner, I wrote iSIMS, PeopleSoft, things like that. But otherwise, the type of skills I wrote weren't those type of generic skills that everybody just roll over. Okay, she putting some in the chat. Yeah, Drea, put those in the chat. We have somebody in the chat helping you out here, sharing examples of stronger key phrases. She says continuous improvement, policy development, the relationship building, change management. Oh, girl, that's good. Callie, drop us a reply if this has helped you. Okay. Okay. Somebody had another question, y'all, and I promise you, I'm not gonna go no more than 5 minutes because I don't want to keep y'all. We all got stuff to do. Brittany said, "What is your suggestion if you lack metrics or KPIs from previous positions?" Girl, look, I'm here to tell you, you think you lack that, but you don't. You might not know how to quantify that on paper, but a professional resume writer will. I thought the same thing that you thought. I thought that I didn't have any numbers or any real data or any real key KPIs to say that I accomplished and was able to put into my resume. But I promised to God, after I hired the resume writer, I got KPIs all up and through here. Okay. I got KPIs all up in here. Some of my examples: delivers an average of 15 to 20 successful hires, manages 60 to 70, 80 active requisitions, keeping relationships with 60 plus managers, training 50 hiring managers, doing a process improvement within 30 months. All those are numbers. All those are numbers. I think that's what you're kind of trying to say. Again, I'm not the resume writer, but she said there's a way to quantify it. I think so Brittany, I think you the one asked that. You see what I'm saying? You think that you lack metrics and KPIs, but you don't. There is always a way to quantify the things you did, but that's why that professional resume writer, she's gonna pull it out of you. And she knows. Baby, she knows. I think I hit everything here. Okay. Again, if I'm helping you, drop me a 2. Drop me a 2 in the comments if I'm helping you. All right. Another piece of my job search strategy. Now, I recommended this to a friend of mine, and after she did this, I don't know. This probably didn't. I mean, heck, this aided to her getting a job. You emailed a recruiter, okay? You don't just send them one of those broad emails. I apply for your job. I'm interested in it. Blah 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 blah. Because depending on the recruiter's workload, they just gonna ignore it. It's just I'm keeping it 100 with y'all. That's just what I do. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say, yeah, well, look, we're not gonna look at it. Okay, if it's a generic email like that, my suggestion to me, the secret weapon is, and if this is small on the screen, I'm sorry, ask a question that we have to answer. If you're gonna send me an email as a recruiter, if you're gonna send me a DM on LinkedIn, ask me a question I have to answer. For example, I was looking at the job description that you had posted for the HR specialist. There's a piece that states you have to do XYZ, or it talks about this component of the job. Can you elaborate on that, or is there any additional information you can share from that? When I tell you, every time I would get an email that asked a question as a recruiter about the job description, it didn't happen a lot. But every time I got a question about it, even if you ask something as simple as, I'm very interested in the job. I'm looking to see how fast you all are wanting to fill this position. If you ask me a question, it's my job to answer you. Okay. It's not my job to answer a blind, broad email that just says, hey, I'm interested in your job. I applied. Thanks. Take care. I don't have to answer that. I should, but I'm just telling you how it is. I'm telling you what other recruiters are thinking too. But the secret weapon to combat that is send me an email. If you find the recruiter's name or the hiring manager or whomever it is, if you find their name and email, send me an email or send me a DM on LinkedIn. Send something that's a question about the job that you're interested in that I don't have no choice but to answer, because it's my job to answer your question. That makes sense? I hope that makes sense. That's what I think. Okay. We almost at the end, y'all. We almost at the end. So, we have been on for officially 30 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. Give me 2 minutes. So almost the last step. Okay, you did all the research. You got your resume done. You got your cover letter done. You know how much your salary is you're gonna ask for. Bottom line, you ain't taking nothing under it. You got that in your mind. Everything is ready to go. You just started applying for jobs. Boom, you got an interview coming up. All right. Now that you have an interview coming up, now it's time to study that job description, that specific one that you have an interview for. The way you study it, in the same way we were studying it to begin with. Okay. It's a little more detailed. I ain't gonna lie, it's a little bit more detailed. We don't have time to go through the whole interview prep process, but I got some help for you about that. You study the job description, you study different things that they're talking about in there. Then you have to make those into interview questions. Okay. You got to study interview questions. Study them using the STAR method. Okay. I think we all know what that is by now. We're all professionals in here, most of us. And if you don't know what it is, then just Google it. It's easy. I mean, it's self-explanatory once you see it. STAR method. Okay. So then you either need a mock interview. So you've gotten the job interview. You studied your interview questions. All right, I need to practice with somebody. Let me call my friend and practice it with her, or let me practice it by myself. Those methods might work, but the better method is a mock interview. A mock interview where you can sit down and be asked questions by a person like me who knows exactly what to look for, who knows what the hiring manager is going to be picking up on, who knows what questions to ask you, who knows even how to pull a question out of the hat, just out of the blue, that I know you didn't prepare for, just so I can see how you answer it. Okay. Mock interviews are recorded. Mock interviews will give you feedback. The person interviewing you, that's a specialist. The mock interview person, who is a recruiter like myself, will give you feedback, and then they will record it and send you a copy of it so you can see if I was lying or not about what I was saying. Okay. That is the interview prep process in the fast version of it. But before I got into interview prep or interview coaching, Drea said, yeah, because before I did mock interviews with you, I was looking like an arrogant prick on the interviews. Yeah, my sister used to, I had to teach her how to interview because she was looking like an arrogant prick. She's right. It was very arrogant. It was like, oh my God. And she thought they were great answers. And I was like, man, no, So I taught her the proper way to answer certain questions. But like I was saying, when it comes down to studying for your interview, if you do not have a person to study with, if you do not have a mock interview lined up, if it's too short notice, you have to study the answers and say them out loud. You have to use whatever these muscles is right here, whatever it is, your voice memory. I'm not sure what it's called. Somebody gave me the proper term of it once before. But the more you practice aloud, the easier it's going to happen when it's time for the interview. You don't want to just be practicing in your head and saying the answer in your head and looking back. You want to walk around your house and be practicing to tell me about yourself question. You want to be walking around your house saying it to yourself with bullets. You don't want to remember it word for word. Okay. You study your questions in bullet format. All right. Okay. We got to the end pretty much. This is a sample of the job interview, the free job interview checklist that I have on my website. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. Hurry up and jot the website down. All you got to do when you get to the home page, you just put your email in and it's going to be emailed straight to you. Okay. Yeah, it does. It does, Callie. Yeah, this will be emailed straight to you for you to use. It's more than 3 pages. This is just 3 pages sample. It's like 12 pages of information that's going to help you throughout the job interview process. It'll have you take notes and everything. Just go to my website, download the free job interview prep checklist, and I feel like that's it. That's all. That's it. Like that's the job search strategy. That's what I talked about on LinkedIn. I just wanted to talk to you guys about it a little bit more. All these steps that I outlined gave me the ability. I mean, once I put my resume out there, like I said, it wasn't 10 applications later that I had a job. And I felt like I did all this to prepare. And it was I've done it where I didn't do this. And I put in 100 applications. I ain't getting nothing. I've done it that way. And then I did it this way and it worked. So this is my last call for questions. Do you have any questions? What I wrote here is if you need any other help, send me a DM on LinkedIn. Check me out at my website, MissLexiHR.com. That's it. I am very happy you guys joined me on today. Any questions? If you have any questions, drop them in now. Now is the time. My sister knows I'm an open book. I'll answer anything. No questions, no questions, no questions. No questions for you. All right, I appreciate you. No questions for you. Um, okay. If there aren't any questions, thank y'all for being here. And if you do need any questions, did you talk about the banner picture? No, on LinkedIn, I did not talk about the banner picture. All I talked about was add a picture to your profile. The banner picture, it's a whole process, I think. We don't really have time to outline the banner picture, but as long as it's something, I would say as long as it's something pretty, but I know that's not the right answer. But you don't want it to be nothing boring. Like I said, it's your profile, it's your social media profile. Okay. Maybe put some things you love. They have samples on Canva. They have sample LinkedIn banners on Canva that you can just spice up. Yeah, Canva. Canva, if you haven't used it before. Oh, the banner. You said the banner picture. The banner you can get on Canva and then spice it up how you like it. The profile picture, just make sure it's professional, of course. All right. Thank y'all so much. Have a wonderful evening. If you have any questions, DM me. Thank you for joining me. All right. Good night.